Hey there, this is Jim the Keys bartender. That's a great story. We're just talking about Tyler just getting in the can.
I got it in the can.
No, wait. Well, we just listened to this commercial. It was a Bud Light Lime commercial
that you can get in the can.
Yeah. I that commercial should have. How'd the girl start out with that?
She was like, I never thought I'd like it in the can.
But yeah, and then
they keep switching off to other people, and he was like, I got it in the can after a company party.
Yeah. I've been giving it to people in the can all day.
Week long.
All week long.
I'll be getting in the can in 5 minutes.
Yeah. After this game, I'm getting in the can. But Tyler was, this is the good Key Largo. I'm here with Jenna and Tyler Kelly. He was doing a typical,
not typical.
Kind of a Keys thing.
Yeah. Kind of a
Keysy thing. So what'd you do today?
So we had, I'd say probably 15 feet wide by 25 foot long floating dock.
Yeah.
That we had at a marina on Oceanside.
Yeah.
And we had to tow it to Bayside, which in reality is probably 9 miles by water, but they're square docks, so you can't go fast.
No, they would just
So we were doing 3 miles an hour, and it took us at the end about 4.5 to 5 hours. And the whole trip we're there, and we're wondering. I was like, man, I had a Monster Energy drink, and my buddy had a Gatorade, and we're like, we should have planned this better. Had a couple beers or whatnot. So with our last about mile, I called our guy at the beach hut, and I was like, hey, we got Miller in the fridge that a customer gave us. Throw 6 cans in there and put some ice and run it out to us by jet ski. So
that's it.
So our guy ran us out 6 beers.
We're gonna post that. Send that out
by jet ski and handed it off to my buddy Andy.
See, that's a Keys. That's a Keys thing.
very Keysy.
So prior to this, we're coming through South Sound Creek, which is where John Pennycamp goes out for snorkeling and glass bottom.
It goes out to the open ocean.
And we just turned around Dangerous Bend, which is a complete 90-degree bend. And at that point, we're radioing everything. Now we don't hear any chatter. Well, as we make this turn, I see there is a massive boat coming through that was coming out of Pennycamp. Mm-hmm. So the guy that was driving the boat, I was like, hey, watch out. So at this point, I have my boss and the guy that's driving the boat, me on this gigantic floating black dock, and my buddy Andy on a jet ski, which is to help to steer the rear end of it. Mm-hmm. Well, I toss him a line, and we're pulling the rear end closer to the mangrove so this massive boat can come around. Uh-huh. And all we see are probably 20, 30 tourists up there taking pictures of us towing this massive floating dock.
Who are these idiots towing this giant alligator?
Doing?
Because if you were to look at the floating dock pictures, which you'll post, I'm sure, but it's like little sections, so it looks like alligator scales.
I'd rather post the jet ski running out the beer.
Yeah, it's the same. You get
good.
It's all in the same picture. So they're probably like, what the heck is that thing? Like, what's floating in the water that's black and floofy, and you could drive a boat on it?
How much does that cost to tow a dock from 9 miles?
Well, I mean, it would just be fuel.
Through the company.
Yeah.
Oh, it was for the company.
Yeah. So it was all company ran. We were on the clock, so he was paying us to do it one way or another.
Yeah.
But as I was coming by, I'm on the back of it holding onto a line, and he's on the jet ski holding onto a line. So we're just holding on, pulling it across, and all of a sudden, the big boat hits its air horn to let anybody else know coming around the corner. Well, my buddy Andy wasn't ready for that, and he damn near had a fucking turtle coming out of his butt. And I wasn't watching him, I was watching the boat, and I could just feel the line shake from him, jolting, out of shock.
Oh, it's funny that you met, about 4 hours ago?
Yeah, we had an earthquake.
There was an earthquake between Cuba and Jamaica. Well, supposedly people in Key West, someone said they felt a shake. On someone.
There was people in Miami Beach that said they evacuated the Bank of America building and everything.
Yeah, the condos were shaking, so they evacuated them.
Yeah.
7.7.
And then there was a couple of
massive.
Down there.
Yeah, 7.7 just
out of Jamaica.
Between Jamaica and Cuba.
In Cuba.
Yeah. So south of Cuba, north of Jamaica.
I felt the water shake.
Yeah, I bet you did. I didn't feel anything, man. I was.
Nah.
What the fuck was I doing? I have no idea what I was doing today. I was doing a show. Yeah, I was doing a show at Moon Bay with the guys, and they were talking about I mean, I had a psychologist and a dentist, and a psychologist tells a joke about a guy with a gerbil farting and blasting a gerbil in someone's face from a lit fart.
And then the dentist didn't have anything to say about whether or not he's...
No, but I thought I'd get kind of a deep conversation, and that's what I get from those guys.
Oh, gotcha.
So I think next week, actually, the psychologist and his wife are both psychologists. They're going to analyze me. On the we're going to do it. They're going to do a deep analysis on my
deep in the mind of Jim. Hopefully, they don't bring any gerbils.
No, I don't fucking. I mean, first of all, I am not.
You're not the rodent type?
No, I'm not homophobic. I don't have a thing. I don't have a thing with that.
Well, we just switched categories.
I know
really
I
quick.
did. Well, I wrote that in the book. I said how many things you have to say to make you homophobic. And what I'm saying, the biggest thing I have a problem with the gerbil is that it's cruel to animals.
Yeah, I mean, plus
it's cruel to an animal. It's cruelty, animal cruelty.
Well, and they're rodents and they could bite you. That's
the number one thing is I'm not going to do. I don't put thing. But the other thing is, it's like I'm not going to. Let's say someone who has the hantavirus or something like that. I'm not going to put my hand in their mouth. I'm not going to put her hand in their mouth. Not because they have the hantavirus, because I don't put my hand in the people's mouth.
Jim's just struggling to come up with this.
No, I'm just saying I'm not. It's cruelty to animals. I'm not. That's the one thing. I'm not. I mean, if I had a proclivity, to shove things up there, I would be an inanimate one. They got plenty of vibrators and shit like that. You can stick up your ass, vibrating things. Why would you have to get? And I'm sure you can get one that nowadays they got ones with remote controls where you can just hit, this one's going to do a random vibration thing and stuff like that. I'm sure you get great pleasure out of that stuff. I'm absolutely sure, without ever having done it. Without having to hurt any and then you could probably put a string on the end and get it back out.
We had a very funny, like kind of lighthearted yet inappropriate conversation with one of the patrons that was at Martini
Night.
Night.
Of the topics. How inappropriate. How uncomfortable a question can you ask? Okay.
Well, what he was letting us know was that he was recovering from like a prostate issue.
He's talking about that?
And yes.
That was a year ago.
No, but
he just got the final okay.
Just got the final okay, but then when he was at the doctor, I guess she is really like funny and lighthearted and really just kind of lightens you up. And she said, "Well, would you like a pump?" Because after going, well, like a penis pump.
Oh, I thought she was going to.
No, yeah, like just to pump it up. And he was like, "Well, I can get it up." She goes, "I mean to keep it up."
Oh, really?
Yeah. And he was like, "No, I think I'll pass for right now." But it was just funny because he was like, "It's how neat is that to have that relationship with your doctor that says
he says a lot of things."
I know.
He says a lot of things.
It was still a funny conversation.
It was a funny conversation.
And then I had said,
he told one. Was it last week? Did we have it?
Well,
he
last
told
week
Steve. Were you there? Did you run into Steve?
I did not.
Did you run into the brother Steve and Doug from New York? Those are they're gruff talkers. One guy, Jim, he's the one that likes the umbrella, the drink with the umbrella.
No, I didn't.
They're two from New York. Greg's a bigger guy. Steve's a retired fireman. Greg looks like he's been in and out of prison. Right? He's got this real deep voice. He goes, "If we got any problems, we're gonna touch all those stones out there." Meaning, we're getting a fight out there.
Yeah.
This guy's a couple years older than me, like 3 years older than me, but he looks like he's about 20 years older.
Oh,
he
shit.
doesn't. Nothing's going on out there in the parking lot where I'm gonna touch all the stones.
Well,
but
touching the stones makes me think of bending over and touching a stone. But yeah.
No, not like that. I mean, getting in a rumble, because if the guy goes on the ground, he's staying on the ground. I mean, just falling on the ground. He's on the ground, not hitting him or anything like that. He's a nice guy. I love him, but that ain't going to happen. So, but his brother, he's a retired retired firefighter, was in the Army. He's I guess 67 years old.
Okay.
And they're smoking a little weed with the guy you were talking to, who happens to be gay, right? And he supposedly was in the Air Force, and he was enlisted at one time, he said. But I think he told Steve he was a fighter pilot. But they were smoking a little weed, so I guess they were believing it.
Yeah.
And he was a fighter pilot. And there's no way this guy was a fucking fighter pilot.
Nope.
Or an officer. At all. He also says he has like 8 different homes. Happens to live in a trailer. Yeah. Okay. But, you know, it's like a guy, me driving my car and telling people I have 2 Maseratis and all these things.
Right.
But I choose to drive the 2005 Malibu hatchback.
Yeah.
So I know who I
like
know.
the hatchback, though.
What?
Me too.
I know, but I'm just saying it's blowing smoke up someone's ass. So he's telling this guy this, and Steve thinks he's hanging out with a pilot, and he's smoking weed with him, and they're both they both were in the service and his camaraderie, and then he starts talking about how about some of the things he likes, and it comes out that he's gay, and he's sharing the same vape, and he gets all and this Steve's old school with that stuff, and it is I from what I understand, he goes in the bathroom and starts heaving.
Oh no!
Starts washing his mouth out and stuff like that. Just has all these things about being around gay people and stuff like that. So he has that, and then last night Russell's there. And who shows up after you guys leave?
Oh,
Steve. And, I think you were still there when they came in.
Well, I was outside.
The 2 guys came in. One was wearing the beard. He had the baseball cap. Sat to the right of you people. Okay.
Yeah.
So but he came in, and there's Russell sitting there, and they're talking about Russell and Steve's just looking forward. And Russell goes, "Why don't you sit over here next to me? Sit next to me." And he goes, "No, I'm going to sit over here." Being polite. He's being polite, which I thought was good of the guy. So Russell's talking and stuff like that, and he's drinking his Bud Light, and I'm about to give him a beer, and he goes, "Give me one with the long neck on it." And I go, "Really?" He goes, "Yeah, it fits in my hand. I like the grass." I said, "Well, you like the girth of it?" And he goes, "Yeah, I like the girth." And he gets talking about girth, and I'm looking at Steve, and Steve's feeling so uncomfortable. You can see him looking at him. And so I'm doing all the innuendos, and then one of these, someone said to me, a really nice guy comes in and says, "Jim, you say one more thing. If you say 3 more things, you're homophobic." The guy said it. And he's a straight guy, the guy that says, "If you say 3 more things." I said, "I'm not doing this. Russell's doing it, and he wants me to do it." Because Russell he loves to let people know that at the catch.
Yeah.
I think because he was in the closet a long time. He has 6 kids.
He's got multiple. I don't think there's 6.
Wait, well, okay. That's what he says once again.
I know of one son
David.
for sure.
Yeah.
That one that I've met. Yeah. But
the kid I told you about. You heard the story.
Yeah.
The one that threw all the plates, and he worked as a dishwasher at her place, and he threw all the plates and the silverware and everything over the fence on the other side of the fence.
Yeah.
And they go afterwards. He goes, "How do you know it was my son?" "Well, there's him, and there's the other kid, Matthew, who shows up to work on time, and the place is spotless all over." Oh, he looks like the RKO dog.
So
you know what I'm talking about?
Our dog is trying to get a better satellite reception right now.
Yeah, pointing it to the south.
There you go.
Going to the southeast. It's the wrong direction. It's got to be the other direction, right?
Poor donkey.
He's west northwest right now.
I think probably a Russian satellite he's getting a signal from.
The signal.
Oh no, the RKO dog is a dog that faces a a phonograph, the old Victrola.
He does kind of look like he has
a dog
phonograph.
Listening to the Victrola. This is a dog with his head in the Victrola.
The poor animal.
So
my poor donkey.
Yeah. And we get a lot of. Russell's the type. He makes gay people feel uncomfortable.
Yeah,
because they come in and they want to mainstream their relationship, right? And you go in there, and Russell. It's just like the guy that's always hitting on the girls.
Yeah.
You know, and they're getting sleazy and stuff like that, going up to girls and saying horrible things to the girls, being misogynistic, talking about their boobs and their ass and stuff like that, telling them what they do to them. It's classic.
Yeah.
That way.
He's a little pushy.
He's very pushy.
He's a little pushy.
He's in it. So
he was married to a man, a boy.
No, a woman.
A man. He was married to a man.
I don't believe it.
No, we met him.
You met? He was married to a man?
He was married to
some man married him?
Very, very, very young man. I believe who was all about 20.
Really?
Yeah. Well, he used to work at another restaurant that was almost right across the street from you at the Catch. And he was
this guy was not.
There.
Okay. Let me guess. This guy was not an American citizen.
I would guess. Spoke perfect English, though.
Really?
Yes. But definitely was.
Really?
Yeah, maybe Latin.
20 years old?
I would say 20, 21 at the most.
And was he actually a manager of it?
Yeah, he was. Yeah. I knew the owners and I knew what they were doing, and they had a hard time and they had to shut down. And Russell lost his job when that happened.
What restaurant was it?
It was across the street. It was called D.
Oh, D Hookers?
Uh-huh.
He was a manager of D Hookers.
Was?
Okay. How did he get to be a manager of D Hookers? Doesn't seem to know anything about restaurants.
Yeah, I don't know. He talked his way into it, I guess.
Wow.
But no, while he was working there, he married a very, very young man.
How long were they married for?
If I had to just guess, I would say 10 months.
Really?
Yep. Ended quickly when he discovered that the young man was out doing many other things with other young men.
For money?
Well, no, I'm just thinking that maybe, the kid was in the sugar daddy mode, thought that he would be supported and, cared for, especially since...
But he doesn't have that much money.
Well, but he sure does talk like he does, doesn't he?
Oh, yeah, he does.
Okay.
Oh, man.
So, yeah. I don't think it took the partner very long to discover that, and then he was...
That would be really disappointing. Let's say you're a playmate, and let's say you hook up with someone in their 70s, and you got to look at their whatever and get down there, and you're thinking all that, and they got a nice house, and they got a nice car.
But you don't
then
realize
all of a
that
sudden,
they filed for bankruptcy 3 days before.
You don't know. You don't realize that it's not their house anymore, and it's not their car, and they have nothing.
No.
And then you go, that's it. And that's on your record. You were married to that thing. That would kind of lower, whenever, if you put someone next to someone.
Right.
If you say a girl and she married this guy, and you think, well, why the hell? And you think, wow, you look great. And then all of a sudden, whoa, you were married to that? What am I?
Yeah.
In just comparison, what would you... You married a crypt keeper?
I do remember that he broke a bone in his foot shortly before the wedding and had to go through with his wedding with a cast on his foot.
Which one?
Russell did. Russell had broken a bone in his foot.
Luckily, I don't think he listens to the podcast.
So I don't think so either, but I was surprised that you mentioned his name because I was really trying to stay away from that.
He knows who he is. He's doing all that shit.
But,
so he gets all pissed off about it and stuff like that.
Whatever.
Well,
wonderful guy, though.
Always been nice to me. I'll say that.
Really?
He's always been nice to me.
He's been a good friend.
So, but he does, he's a one-upper.
Yeah.
Okay. You're a one-upper. Russell, if you're listening, you are a one-upper.
Yeah.
So even though I've accomplished a lot of things in my life, I guess everything that you've done has been better than that. So, yeah. That's kind of how it works.
Hey, luckily, this episode will be buried.
Yeah.
We're not going to call it that.
He
episode.
won't listen to it anyway.
And it's not that, Russell. If you think it's you,
No.
there's another one.
There is a different one.
Yeah.
That doesn't have a ponytail.
No, he doesn't. Well, we're going to take a little break right now, and then we're going to be coming back. We're going to talk about male and female grooming habits.
Oh.
Whether you're one of our regular visitors to the Florida Keys or you can't wait to visit for the first time, you'll want to stay up to date on everything that's going on in the Florida Keys. To learn all the secrets, tips, and the stuff we don't talk about to anyone but each other, visit 43keys.com. Sign up for our newsletter and never miss any of the exciting things we have planned for you. That's 43 Keys, the number 4, the number 3, keys.com.
Okay, we're back.
All right, we're back.
The reason why last night I had people come in and they ask me, people ask me a lot of questions. They ask me a lot of movies.
Yes, but you're
and then
good with
before
us.
Tommy was asking me, there were all these Sylvester Stallone movies we were watching, and these people were getting the order of the films wrong. But how we got the female and male grooming habits.
Okay.
So we're going through this back, and every movie it was like Godfather, Deer Hunter, this, that, the De Niro movies, and then the Stallone movies, and they said which one was first and which was this. And I made I thought it was a bold statement. I said the best acting Sylvester Stallone ever did was Copland. Now people say Rocky, but Rocky's him. Rocky's him.
Yeah.
Rocky's him. But Copland, I thought Copland was a classic. It was a Scorsese movie, I think, or something like that.
I don't
De
know.
Niro was in it. Ray Liotta was in it. Harvey Keitel was in it. There was all these actors in it. The guy from Terminator 2 was in it. The guy that played
the melting guy.
The melting guy was in it. He was great. You'd see all these guys in it, and Annabelle Sciorra was in it.
Sciorra,
who was raped by Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah, she
I found
was.
out.
Yeah.
And but we were talking about all this stuff. So at the end of the night, after all you left and stuff like that, the question came up, said, Jim, when did women start shaving their cooch? And I said, in the United States, because that's where my frame of reference would be mainly, because I wasn't in Brazil. I imagine they started doing that in Brazil with those tiny bikinis and stuff like that.
Especially because when you get fully waxed, it's called a Brazilian.
Oh yeah, but
Right.
and they just went all the way because they were leaving, and they said, "Well, why the hell are we leaving any of it?" And I did a little research into that. And I'll go back to the old stuff. The Egyptians and the Greeks and the Romans did it. Yeah, the upper class. They did that. Yeah, believe it or not,
But
they did it.
Shaved? With
They
what?
used certain oils and stones and stuff like that. Yep. Yeah. Now I don't know, kind of like abrasive things, maybe. I guess not. But they did. And in
I would think a sugar wax would have been invented by then.
1915, that safety razors came out in the late 1800s. And in 1915, Gillette started marketing the armpit stuff for women.
Yeah.
And then in 40s and 50s with the skirts.
Right. Yeah, mini skirts.
Skirts and mini skirts were 60s, the late 60s.
Right, yeah.
But 40s and 50s, they started shaving the legs and stuff like that. And then 80s, 90s, porn and fashion photography, that's when they started doing it. The first Brazilian wax thing was in the United States, 87.
Okay.
The place where they did it. Now, they may have been doing them, but the first place that
actually advertise, hey, we'll Brazilian wax all of your sea hairs off.
But I remember, luckily we are, I got to double check that we're still doing this. I'm checking explicit, but it was like a forest down there back in the 80s. I remember that. And I'm sure the old guys do. There was no trimming going on. There was no trimming. You don't know.
It's like the current TV show, the Alaskan Bushman, but the
Alaskan
Bushwoman.
Yeah, it was. But everyone was that way. So it wasn't like a big deal.
Right, you just knew you were going in. If you were going in, you were going in.
It wasn't a big
bush.
deal. It wasn't a big deal. It was just the way it was. If that's the way everything is, then why would you make a big deal about it, right?
Right, yeah.
Well, it wasn't a big deal. And then all of a sudden you started going, what's this all about?
Even
it
to
says
this
she's
day.
adventurous. You think, once in the 80s, I remember in 87 and stuff, the girl, there was this waitress. She was also a model. And she was completely, it was definitely 87, 88. My first 86, it was awesome. It was awesome when you're like this, you know? It was the first thing, it was like sighting of a Sasquatch. When you see that, you go, holy smokes.
Oh, I still have those sightings to this day and age.
What? I'm not talking about the hairy one.
No, I'm talking about full bush.
No, I'm talking about the first time I saw the shaven.
Oh.
I was like,
Well, I'm still saying to this day, we still have, the ones that are full bush, lower armpits, everything.
oh,
Well,
yeah,
you
yeah.
get a lot of Europeans that visit, and then they wear their
well,
swimsuits, and you can see the bush hanging out.
Oh, yeah, but I'm talking about the...
Armpits.
No, but that was 1915 when they started doing... But really, it's not a thing. It's not a thing if... No, it's not a thing if you did. It's just like we talked about this in previous shows with bathing. Bathing was a weekly thing years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Right, yeah.
People just did a horse bath.
Mm-hmm.
Right, yeah.
Face, crotch,
No,
the thing like
my
that.
mom called it, I'd have to text her.
A bird bath.
PTA.
Tits and ass.
Right? Pits, tits, and ass?
Yep.
PTA, she calls it.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, cold.
Isn't it-
I imagine in cold weather.
I thought it would mean. I
it'd
thought
be
it was
hard.
like
I mean,
pussy, tits, and ass. But
yeah.
Mom said it was.
Well, I mean, it's all sorts of things. In cold weather, actually,
You wouldn't.
you weren't.
You wouldn't have to worry about your pits as much in cold weather,
No,
right?
it wasn't as hot. Then again, it's so freaking cold. You didn't want to do all that stuff. And second of all, it's so freaking cold. You didn't really. Odor doesn't propagate like it does there. Now with.
I mean, there's days that I don't do much, and my hair's not greasy, my pits aren't sticky, but my balls itch.
No, but at one,
So I know I need to wash my balls.
At one point down here, we did mention this. People wore fucking linen suits in the summertime, 90 degree. They're wearing linen suits. Yeah, your balls itch.
Why are you laughing?
I'm sorry.
Again, there's days like I was sick. I was sick for like a week straight.
Yeah.
So I wasn't doing much. And then once I would finally like adventure outside of the house, I didn't do a whole lot. My hair wasn't greasy. My armpits didn't stink. Like, I was still clean. But I'd be laying down in bed. I'm like, God damn, my balls itch. So I went in there and got a washcloth and wiped my balls clean so I could go to sleep.
When I'm sick, I drag my ass into the shower.
No, I bathed every day, but towards the end of the day, I'm like,
Oh, okay.
I didn't do anything, but my balls were itching.
okay.
I couldn't go to sleep with itchy balls.
That's itchy balls. That.
I need to get some monkey nut powder.
Looking at.
We're going to get to male grooming. We're still on the female thing. But I want to get
Since he's going to that, I do have a penis, by the way.
But they're the eyebrows. They got the unibrow. There's they started when women started taking those down and trimming, taking up their armpit hair. But when everyone had if everyone has armpit hair, what does it fucking matter?
I mean, Frida Kahlo would have been so disappointed if somebody would have waxed
her. See the
her.
girls in the bikini and you got the hair coming up.
What?
Coming out of the sides.
No.
Oh, up the Ho Chi Minh Trail?
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, that would be
To the
weird.
belly button.
You mean like a landing
Like
strip?
dark hair?
Yeah. Every so often, some women have more hair than others. You know what I mean?
I know, that's true.
It's just fuck.
Cultures are cultures.
It's just fucking hair.
You know,
It's just hair, and if you're relatively clean, it doesn't really matter.
See, I could deal with that, and I'll put you on a side note really
Right.
quick. So I could deal with hair and all that kind of stuff. That's fine. With one of my jobs, I'm a captain of a parasail boat. And there has been times where we have a big group of people, girls, guys, all mixture. And you get the ones that, hey, I don't want to get dunked, blah, blah, blah. Well, there's been the occasional that someone doesn't say because they're embarrassed, and we dip them in the water, and as soon as they step back on the back of the boat, there's a red trail back up to the seat.
Oh.
So, as professionals, we don't...
The visitor, the monthly visitor.
The monthly visitor. So we don't say anything. It is part of what happens, and
married.
we don't want to embarrass them. So it's all right, have a nice day. We get off and we rinse the boat back down. But... And a side note, I'd rather somebody say, hey, can you please not dunk us in the water or dip us in the water, rather than, because who else is on the boat that might see that and might make a smirk
Afraid of
joke or
sharks.
something like that.
Oh.
Afraid of sharks in the water. I like that. Hey, does anybody ever worry about that? Don't go in the water if you fucking have.
No, I get the question every time. Are there sharks out there?
No, will my period attract sharks?
Oh, no.
Nobody's ever going to tell. A female's not going to tell some strange man that she's on her
Yeah.
period. She just won't do that.
It's so funny that, it's talking about women. I told you that there's a time, there was a time where every woman, you go south of the border, you were heading into jungle territory. That was it, man. You might as well put on the fucking pith helmet and bring out the machete because you're going to be getting some heavy
just
thick.
Absolutely gross.
No, but that's the way it was back then. That was the way, and that's why all that clearing of the teeth and all that stuff.
But
you got to have it stuck. But there are some girls, and they would just tell you they thought it was an intimacy, and they go, "Oh," and you're like. I would work at a club or something like that. I'm talking to a girl, and I was thinking about asking the girl out, and I thought she wanted to go out, and she started talking. Oh, I got my period. It was horrible. And they start talking, and they go, oh shit, I guess she doesn't want me. I guess she doesn't want to go out. We're friends and all that stuff. So she doesn't want me to ask her out. And then you find out, like at the Christmas party a couple months later, I thought you're telling me you never asked me out. And I said, why were you telling me about your period and all that stuff in the beginning? I thought that was a sign when they told you that stuff. You were in the friend zone. Yeah, you were in the friend zone. And I used to pop in and out. After 1987, 88, I used to pop out of friend zone real quick. Friend zone was not I was not ostracized to the friend zone permanently. No. But then 87, 88, 89, and they, even older women, because I remember I went out with some women in their 30s when I was in my 20s, and it all started, it was a cultural phenomenon, because there was a couple you'd see. There was a young African American woman who didn't. That was back in the 90s. She didn't shave all the way down there and stuff like that. But it's just one of those things, man. It was just happening. I was telling the guys that, and they said, how would you know? I said, I know. Of course I know. Why wouldn't a guy know when it would happen? It was such a thing when you would see it. And it becomes just like when people started, it must have happened in 1915, 1917, 1918, but I guess people didn't date around as much.
No.
And all of a sudden you go, well, what happened to, well, you didn't actually, with women, you didn't have bare shoulders.
No.
You didn't have bare shoulders or bare legs. You wouldn't know when they went to the beach. They wore bathing suits that went down to their near their ankles.
Yep.
That was it. I mean, they were fucking they go in the water. I'm surprised more people didn't drown.
I know, because all that shit's heavy.
Yeah, wearing
I was just thinking about that too. Like if Tyler dunks somebody, like in the parasail boat and up on their parasail, they're flying around in 100 feet of air, whatever it is. If he dunks
they're wearing
them,
vests, though.
well, the other thing though is that the only way for that red stripe on the back of the boat to happen would be if they were wearing a pad and it got wet with seawater.
Like a tampon.
A tampon would never do that. A tampon's up there.
It would just have even more blocking. No, I meant the wetter it got, the more
Nah, wouldn't even go in there.
Really?
Yeah, not unless you were going real fast with your legs open.
The water doesn't.
No,
shoot
that's
up
what
your
you got.
vagina
You
when you jump in there.
You got lips that close that shit off.
I know.
There's
do know
air
how
in
fast you
there,
get
water
that-
intrusion. It creates a block.
Yeah. But it would be someone who was wearing a pad. And then if you got them dunked in the water and the pad got wet, then that's the only time you would
And
see the
we
leakage.
don't drop them from 100 feet in the air.
No, I'm saying when you're in. I'm saying
Why
that
would
when
you
they're
go
up there,
paragliding with a pad?
Because a lot of women don't wear tampons at all.
Really? Why?
Well, they don't expect to get wet either.
Well, they might not expect it. First
on
of all,
a water sport?
No,
And
I can keep somebody completely dry.
No, but and listen.
I know.
If I'm getting,
we know this.
No.
If I'm getting on a boat,
It's
I'm
also-
thinking I might get
Exactly.
wet.
it's also a culture thing,
Yeah.
which I've noticed down here.
Mm-hmm.
That there's certain cultures that refuse to use tampons because they're told by their mothers. Who
Oh, they're
don't-
not virgins.
That you don't put anything in there because it's going to stretch it out and your husband's not going to like it anymore. So they don't.
Tampon?
Yeah.
What are you using? A bowling pin?
I know. Well, no, they're using a fucking, paper towel roll or some shit, I guess. But,
Yeah.
but no, I mean, there's plenty of them, especially Latin girls, Indian Guyanese. They do not use tampons. They use pads.
Oh, really?
Yes. So if they try to keep themselves away from a situation like that, or they'll pretend like, I don't feel like swimming today, or I don't want to be in the sun today. But they're not supposed to talk about it. You're supposed to keep your private female things to yourself.
I'm
Whereas,
so glad I didn't have to be. I'm not one of those fathers that just has to, besides loving my wife and stuff like that, having to teach his daughter how to use.
Right. Yeah. But I have a
And
tampon
applicator.
on the boat. I always keep a tampon on the boat. It's under the seat right there. Just in case.
Listen, if
Hey,
my,
you know what?
If my
It's good
three
to have
boys
tampons
ever
around you.
come
You get
to
a
me
bloody
and say,
nose
hey,
or
I
anything.
need
Right.
your advice on my period,
What's
I'm gonna
that?
make the Guinness Book of World Record.
What's that?
And if one of my three boys come to me and say, hey,
Right.
I need to talk to you about this period.
No, but imagine
No,
if
make
you got
it world record.
you're one of those. God, when you're in a thing, you're on a boat, and the girl does get her period,
Yeah.
and you're the captain. I think that's part of your job is to inform them how to use a tampon. I'm just making it up. It sounds good. I think it's you have to tell them how to
Alrighty
use
then,
that
there goes
period.
another $10,000 increase in my pay over the year.
Yeah.
You know what it would be is that the responsible
Not show them how to use
the
it.
responsible thing to do would give them at least like a dark colored towel and put them in a comfortable spot to sit until it's time to get off the boat. And that would be the best thing to do. And just acknowledge
the
it.
red, and you can make
Yeah.
it into a thing, put it in
Yeah.
a corner, and make it the red tail of shame.
Well, you don't have to do
Yeah, like
that to
Carrie.
anybody.
You just give them the Carrie thing, put them in there, and throw a bunch of tampons at them.
Well, but like I said,
Right? Just
and-
like they did in Carrie when she's in the shower.
And if you ever had a real young girl, using a tampon is not easy to do until you're a little older.
I'm
So-
not really comfortable talking about
I'm
this.
just saying. You talked about.
I'm comfortable
Really, you're
talking about
comfortable
girls being
talking about
shaven.
your shaving my lady parts, but you're not
No,
comfortable
you know
talking
what?
about tampons?
You know what? They were women. They were women. I don't want to talk about young girls using tampons. I know. It's weird. I wrote in my book, what are you comfortable talking about? Where's the line? That's the line.
All right,
Carrying on.
Anyway, carrying on.
No. You can talk about it. Just because I'm uncomfortable about it, I'm just telling
Okay,
you. I'm
so-
just telling you this because I'm not. I realize you're on the show with me.
I will say though that anybody
woman.
that's
Yeah.
about anybody that's about my age, a couple years older, even maybe like 45 ish and younger,
Mm-hmm.
we don't have any hair.
Yeah.
No,
Because you're too old. You go bald, right?
no,
I'm starting to lose all their hair as I get older.
No, you know what? It's like a sanitary thing.
Yeah.
I would think.
On a side note, how come when
No, you said at 45, and I'm like completely
40,
comfortable talking
45
about it.
and under, like I
You know,
was
25 and up.
I was not even in the bracket of having like a landing strip or those weirdos that paint or that like shaved heart shapes and stuff. It was just
They do it on TV when they
but
show that.
it's just gone.
But on a
little-
side note, how come when men get older we lose our hair but women don't?
What do you mean you lose your like pubes?
No, like head hair.
Oh well, yeah, but there's plenty of women that have
Oh yeah,
baldness.
it happens. Yeah, baldness. Yeah,
Yeah, they just cover it really well. They wear wigs.
It's less. It's a lot less,
Yeah.
but it's still. It's funny that you mentioned guys because in
Testosterone.
that guy thing, I wanted to start first with the phenomenon after 9/11, when people used to stereotype Muslims. When you go to Afghanistan and you always see the picture of Bin Laden as fucking, and what do we culturally appropriate? Like we did the thing. These fucking guys, they all wear these Taliban fucking beards.
That's what you said to Frankie, and Frankie's a Cuban.
No,
Frankie, my driver.
No,
you were like, oh,
I'm not saying that it's some of the guys that are the most anti. You know what I mean? They got the fucking beards.
Right.
They look like it. It's funny. You're looking like that guy you're saying shit about. If you if you wore their garb, we could put you right there, and I couldn't tell, except maybe with color your eyes, maybe because they're on the boat all the time. You can't tell what sunburn and tan and stuff like that. You couldn't fucking tell the difference. Okay. All the fucking hair that they have and stuff like that. And they're saying thing, they call them people like camel jockeys and stuff like that, and they go, you look exactly like them. You look exactly like them, which is, I don't think it's a look. But when that cultural change, because
I'm just getting into a side note that's really funny.
What?
Is because of my wife.
No,
We have all those names. Even her kids have teased her with all of those names.
Oh, because
I'm Lebanese, Syrian, and Finnish. Okay.
So camel jockey.
So they're
I know, but the thing.
my favorite one was Dune Coon.
Yeah.
That's by far my favorite one.
But
I've heard Carpet Pilot.
Yeah.
no, but it's funny when someone uses it and they're like, you're appropriating their style, and you're saying it. When did that become a thing? Down in a place is so freaking. I understand up north, man. There's got to be nothing better than having a whole face mask to protect your face from the wind and all that stuff. But down here, where we're so 5 miles away from the sun, and your head is already a place where you're trapping a lot of heat.
Wait until you see me in summer. Oh, because I wear those face shields.
Well, the face shields you got to wear to protect you from the sun.
It's the same thing. I mean, you're covered.
It wicks it. Well, it wicks it. I think they wick away the moisture from it and stuff like that. It doesn't get trapped in.
He doesn't have enough melanin.
You know what I'm talking about? The Under Armour and stuff like that. Yeah. You can wear all that stuff and it wicks the moisture away. They make them that way.
It's funny. He gets mad.
And evaporates. When it evaporates, it creates a cooling.
He will work out on the boat in the open water and just glaring sun covering his face, trying to do it
month after month, year after year.
And it takes.
I agree with you 100%. You see how
No, but I don't get color. I don't use sunscreen. I did when I was little because I was forced to.
Well, you wear windscreen, you say? So
Yeah.
Very few and far between.
When it was real hot, and it's real crazy. But he'll be out in that sun every single day for a week straight, and I'll go out on a Sunday, come home, and I'm darker than he is.
Yeah.
But that's because I have darker skin.
I always put that 20 on to protect me, not because I worry about having darker skin. I just want to protect. I don't want to look older before my time. Because I talked to, like we said, there was times we talk about, and now we get down to grooming, going a little south.
Yeah.
On the border for guys.
Well, yeah.
Shaving.
Okay. All right. So
shaving down below.
Now, I will tell you.
It's very comfortable when you don't have that excess hair. So you don't have the itchy balls. You don't want them too short so they don't have the pokey, sharp things.
You got to have the in-between hair.
Yeah.
I don't like the pricky, pokey, scratchy.
Not the bald eagle. The bald eagle,
like the bald eagle.
Well, there's a nice thing about not having sweaty balls. It's a very when it's really hot and you don't. If you're not sweaty,
the hair helps with the perspiration.
I would say this.
Not when it's covered up.
Trim, not shave.
Yeah.
Right, boys. Trim, not shave.
No, they got all that.
Manscaped.
They got the razors for it. Yeah.
Exactly, but
Manscaped. When you go completely bald,
shorn instead of balls.
So what? Who's looking at it?
No, it itches. After you shave.
Whatever anybody does, like I said, I don't have a problem with guys having beards and stuff like that, but don't fucking make fun of the guys for the way they look when you look exactly like those guys.
Right, yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, no.
So
yeah.
I don't have a problem with anybody's grooming habits. Shave your fucking head. Shave your fucking head. It's great. If I had a nice looking dome, some guys have the heads that look like the bulbous top of a penis.
Yeah, that's what my head looks like without hair.
No, but some guys have really nice skulls, like Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
But there's other guys, you look at their heads, and there's white guys with nice bald heads.
But you have like a full head of hair. There's no reason that you would ever even really need to consider shaving your head bald,
My head
I like
bald
the idea
is
that what I
hideous.
really admire about the bald head is the grooming.
The spit shine.
Yeah. Fuck, I love it. I love that.
Polish it, make it shine.
Whatever,
As long as you don't do that to your nuts. Like, that's just
If I had like I said before, if I never had to shave another day of my life and not grow any hair,
Well,
I would
remember,
be for.
I sent you my Halloween costume when I was a crash test dummy. I went completely bald for that one. I shaved my head bald for that.
That's committed.
And
That's
I showed
fucking
Jenna
committed.
that one,
We talked
too.
about that. That was so.
Yeah.
That was committing to a look.
he
Yeah.
looked like a
You shaved your eye. Did you shave your eyebrows?
No, just
He
my
looked
head.
like-
Because that's like fucking Roger Waters in.
But I
He
will
looked
tell
like a
you, I have
crackhead.
a very ugly bald head. Like, I have contours in my head. I don't know if my mom dropped me when I was a little.
You
or
also
if-
are like 5'10", and back then you were probably 110 pounds, and you looked like a crackhead.
Yeah, it was a
like
crash test
just
dummy.
Awful.
It suited.
Awful. Yeah. No.
But now,
He has
with
a full
my
head of
little bit of
blonde
facial
hair.
hair, which my full-blooded brother that I met 6 years ago, he's got a full beard. He can grow it, but he's losing hair on
Yeah, he's
the
losing
top
his
of his
hair.
head. I have a full head of hair, but I can't grow a full beard. But now if I shave what little I do have off of my face, I look like I'm 10, 11 years old.
No, you don't. You're
Yes, I
sorry,
do.
man. You missed that boat now.
No, I
You
do.
look like you're 30.
No, I do.
You're getting there, Mr. 30.
You're
I
30,
can shave this off, and you'll look at me tomorrow and be
So,
like,
hey, listen.
who
it's
the
not
hell is this
I didn't say you
12-year-old?
look 50. I said you look
No.
30.
Yeah, but I do. Yeah,
The eyes tell, man.
I get made fun
Yeah,
of.
he's
Jenna
just
gets
he has
made
the
fun
wrinkles.
Yeah, the wrinkles.
As
yeah,
a
yeah.
pet-
He has-
pedophile.
well, I laugh about it because he actually has more like eye wrinkles than I do.
Yeah.
But I think that's just because he's lighter, out in the sun all
It
the
happens
time.
to lighter skinned people like me too.
Yeah.
You get, but when we get to grooming and stuff like that, when you see original Star Trek movie,
He's going back
there
to
was
balls.
a bald woman, and she
Yes.
was gorgeous.
Yeah.
She was gorgeous. I think, and there's the TV show we were talking about by Fox. Did we talk about the Swan?
No.
Oh my God, the fucking Swan was great. It was a show when I guess it was the beginning of the reality shows, right? It's before Survivor, and everyone's coming up with their own reality show. Well, the Swan was a show where they take people that are less than perfect, and they
Less imperfect?
less than perfect.
Oh, less than
needed to lose some weight. They needed some skin care, maybe some cosmetic surgery, some tightening up and stuff like that. And they bring these beauty experts in, and it was Fox. So they made them look like fucking Eastern European hookers every time they came. The hair was all like, down. I'm like, oh Christ! They never tried to do the high end.
Make 'em look
Mid-range hair,
natural.
short thing, and all that stuff. They always had them in long gowns that
Like a bride, like a mail order bride.
yeah, like a Russian hooker or something like that. They just made him look like that, and then I said, why do you think the longer hair makes them any? There's are beautiful long hair is beautiful, but also, like I said with that bald woman in the original Star Trek. Was gorgeous. And there's a show on Netflix called Orange is the New Black. It's about women.
That's the prison one, right?
Actually, the story, the main character, this white woman, is the most boring fucking character now. She was interesting in the beginning. The most interesting people, I know I'm getting on thing, are the black women, and the white supremacist. The black women are the most interesting. The white supremacists, they're the most comical. And there's one with a shaved head. And you look at them and they say, man, they look freaky. And then I'm looking at them and said, holy crap. there's some pretty women with the Nazi tattoos on it and stuff like that. I know they're not the actresses.
Yeah.
I'm looking at it, I seen their bone structure. I said, they're pretty. They just didn't put any makeup on him and stuff like that. It's a prison show and stuff like that.
Yeah, but
and then I go,
would you have looked at that woman when you were like 22 and thought, oh, she's pretty?
No, well, on this show, because there's no makeup on them, stuff, unless they're referring back to them in civilian life, you don't see them. You look at them without all the beauty items and stuff like that, and you look at it, and they're actresses without it. And the prettiest ones are the African American ones. The two of them without, they don't seem to need makeup. That sounds like that thing. I am saying that I did use the thing, but they don't seem to make it. But is that an insult?
No, it sounds to me like
sounds like a compliment.
That sounds to me like
Abby always said that about me.
You got a thing for dark girls.
Wait a second. I love all women.
I know you do.
I do.
Yes.
Oh, you got Asian, African, European, Latin. They're all gorgeous.
You just like women.
I love women. Well, and like I said,
you do.
I did say no, but I am comfortable enough saying there's a man's attractive too. That quarterback for San Francisco, Garoppolo.
Oh, I don't know.
He is a fox. And I'm not.
He's not hard to
It's
look
not
at.
moving. Anything's moving down in my pelvic region or anything like that. I'm looking at it. I said, holy shit.
Maybe it's all that hair holding it down.
How do you end up being that good looking? And, what?
I said maybe it's all that pubic hair holding it down.
You think he shaves his pubes?
No, I'm talking about you. Like you said, there's nothing happening here. There's nothing growing.
With him? No, well.
Maybe
hey,
it's all that hair.
Man, I'm not going to talk about that. Abby listens to the show.
You're so funny.
No, we don't need it. And listen, oh my God, I reveal more information now than I ever did.
I know. Okay,
drinking coffee.
So your advice to men that want to manscape would be:
don't go full bald. You get ingrown hair under your nutsack, and then you get an abscess.
All right, so then it's trim, not shave.
Trim. They have wonderful tools for that, for your tool.
Yeah, they have a tool.
And moisturize.
What do you use for moisturizer? Just like a regular lotion?
I use an aloe-based lotion.
An aloe-based lotion. So do you do that after you're out of the shower?
I get ashy.
I get ashy.
I use. You know what?
But after the shower?
Good skincare for men, especially when you're in the subtropics. Very important. Very important.
Yes, but so give me a little bit of a routine. So it's trim, then shower, then aloe?
Shave, trim, shower.
Well, shave your face, trim whatever.
Yeah, shave,
trim your lower business.
Shave, trim.
Right.
Well, there's a lot of trimming going on.
Right.
There's nose hair, there's plucking.
Yeah.
You know what?
Yeah.
No, because you had eyebrows.
Pluck your eyebrows.
Yeah, you got ear hair.
And then you
got hairs, long hair that grow.
Oh, that's right. And then you get the ones that come up from the middle of your ear.
And then, I'm not saying you can pluck yourself clean. Just you don't want to be one of those guys that I never see these guys and you got these extra
but just maintain. Maintain. So then after you're done plucking,
and then every so often you're
trimming,
going to look like you have a forest, and then you got to go trim again.
And then you got to
the nose hair I'm talking about right now.
Right, but then you
nose hair is most apparent.
Shower clean, and then you aloe.
I don't really aloe.
Because if you,
I don't get it. I don't really.
Aloe.
I was just doing it for bullshit and stuff like that. The only thing I use some anti-aging cream. It's a kind of a moisturizer, age-defying cream.
But do you use it on your nuts?
No, on my face.
Oh, right.
Your nuts are always going to look older. They're saggy and wrinkly. But luckily, my bulb. If you work out, I guess I don't have the saggy balls because I use boxer briefs. They're not held up too tight, and they're not too saggy. They're not the boxers, right? Wait, what are you laughing at? There's nothing funny about it.
I'm laughing. Because
it's just the way it is.
You went through this thing and you said that you use a moisturizer, and
I did it because you said that. I don't put moisturizer all over my body.
Why wouldn't you? Maybe you should Maybe you should lube your nuts.
My ass is not chapped. You know what? You only need it if your body works the way it's supposed to. You put up a natural oil in your skin that you find. You shower, and then people say Americans shower too often. This is my routine. I do it. I shave first before I go to the gym. If I get up in the morning, first thing in the morning, get up, shave, shower. Don't wash my hair then because I'm going to the gym, work out, and then I come back. And if I have to wash my hair, I wash my hair then and shower again. I know, shower twice, but you get irresponsible. You're just sweating and stuff.
You got to wash that off.
You got to go out down in the tropics. You're going to stink. I know some people say it's not good for you, but that's what I do. And then I moisturize again the face. I don't have to moisturize. Sometimes I do. Some new thing I do. This is going to be good.
He said do.
I do. I use a pumice stone on my feet.
Oh, I have one of those.
I use that because I was getting extra dead skin on my feet.
From flip-flops?
No, just become, I guess, the way I favor my right.
Oh.
So what I did is, now I don't have it. Actually, it doesn't have to be perfect, but actually I'm quite proud of how, if you're walking around flip-flops, you don't want to have grungy toes and feet.
Like toes, yeah.
Yeah. So
I have one that's like a cheeseburger on one side.
It's not perfect, but you can attest to it, see?
Yeah, no, you have nice feet.
Yeah. Almost 60 years old.
I know.
So.
Not almost 60 or 56.
I'll be 57 soon, so I'm closer to 60. But I take care of that. What you can, you maintain. Do the hands, right?
Yeah.
Do the hands, take care of that. I don't go in for beauty things. I just get my hair cut. The rest of the stuff you can do yourself.
Just wait. He might be lying again. He's probably sitting under there in the steamer.
I haven't done that. I went for a massage. I don't do it.
It's like
I haven't used a mask. I haven't used a mask or anything like that. There's things you don't have to do if you drink plenty of water. You eat right type of food and stuff like that. You take care of your skin. You moisturize certain stuff. If you got a dry part of your body, if your elbows are dry, put something on it.
I am just picturing you in a seaweed wrap with your hair under the dryer, like a little old lady get your nails did.
I don't give a shit. I'm not going to do it. That's uncomfortable as hell.
I would think
I don't know. You put a hat thing on your head and just sit around.
They put the little hat thing on your head and cook your hair or dry it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
I was terrified me as a kid because on all the science fiction shows, that's how that's how they mind control you. Yeah, mind control you by putting those things on it. And there was always, I think it was in a James Bond movie or something. That's where they really got them right then, where they.
When James Bond went
him
to get a pedicure, and then they put the thing on his...
No, he did go. He went to a mountaintop. It was the George Lazenby Bond. He went to the top of the Swiss Alps, and this thing had to go up on one of these things. And Telly Savalas was the guy.
Oh, the bald guy.
Yeah. Telly Savalas. And they were training all these girls to go out, and they were brainwashed, and they were supposed to kill foreign leaders or do something like that. But they were... No, not the fembots. Fembots attack!
Fembots attack!
Okay, well,
machine gun boobies.
We got through the. Well, I guess we'll call this.
We'll call this.
What are you talking about? Grooming? What are we going to talk about? Manscaped.
Intimate grooming.
Did Manscaped? We probably an episode called Intimate. Master your domain. No, that's masturbating.
Yeah,
we'll talk about that next time.
Okay.
Well, Tyler can tell us a lot about that. Thank you very much. I would like to thank Jenna and Tyler for looking at an old car right here. Say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. See you later, guys.